goodbye to TV characters is never an easy task, especially when it happens on your favorite shows. But I mean, we get it. Death on TV is bound to happen, and on some shows, it's even expected. American Horror Story, anyone? But there are other times that a character's demise has totally caught us off guard. So right now we are bringing you 12 of TV's most jaw-dropping character deaths. And if we're being honest, we haven't really fully recovered from most of these just yet. Oh, and also, if the whole character death thing didn't really tip you off, then yes, there are going to be spoilers ahead. So don't say we didn't warn you, okay? Coming in at number 12, we have the tragic death of Denny Duquette on Grey's Anatomy. Fans, as well as Dr. Stevens, fell in love with Denny during the show's second season when he checked into Seattle Grace Hospital because he needed a heart transplant. Izzy did some pretty shady stuff so he could get a transplant, but he ultimately passed away. I'm not over this, in what is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes of all time. No pun intended. Landing the number 11 spot is Finn from Glee. Now, bidding farewell to this character was especially difficult because fans were also saying goodbye to Corey Monteith in real life after he unfortunately passed away in July of 2013. Corey's tragic passing led to some major rearranging of the show's fifth season, as to be expected, and viewers were really anxious to see how they would deal with Finn's passing. Ultimately, they did decide to have Finn pass away on the show, but didn't get any details as to how exactly it happened. Just thinking about that beautiful tribute episode and all the wonderful things they did for him still really hits home for me, and I'm guessing a lot of you guys. All right, shifting gears a bit, we have Allison's shocking demise from MTV's hit show Teen Wolf. Now, yes, there are plenty of ill-fated characters that literally don't make it out of Beacon Hills alive, but it's safe to say that no one, and I mean no one, even me, saw this particular one coming. There was a lot of complicated stuff going down during the season 3 finale as Allison was trying to save all of her BFFs, mainly Lydia, but alas, she paid the ultimate price trying to protect the ones she loved. And speaking of, Allison died in the arms of her first love, Scott, and basically, the entire Teen Wolf fandom wept uncontrollably.
It's perfect. I'm in the arms of my first love.
Does anyone, do you have any tissues? Another show that's had its fair share of characters bite the dust is The Vampire Diaries. Now, there are two particular deaths that really hurt us, and we couldn't decide between the two, so they've tied our number 9 spot. Plus, question, does anyone ever really die in Mystic Falls? Yeah, that's what we thought, because fans were particularly crushed when they had to say goodbye to Alaric, but alas, he's back for the show's 6th season. And in a similar situation at the end of season 5, Damon was stuck on the other side with Bonnie, and Elena didn't take that very well. But hey, can you blame her? Now, as far as real legit deaths on the show go, we're still mourning Vicky, Anna, and of course, Aunt Jenna. All right, from one CW show to another, we have the tragic death of Uncle Keith on One Tree Hill coming up at number 8. During the show's 3rd season, they took on the hot-button issue of school shootings when Jimmy Edwards brought a gun to campus. Uncle Keith convinced his brother Dan to let him into the school to talk some sense into Jimmy, and in the process, he was able to save Lucas and Peyton. However, Keith's attempts to calm Jimmy down didn't really help, as Jimmy ends up shooting himself, and plot twist, evil Dan ends up shooting Keith with Jimmy's gun, making it look like a murder-suicide. I don't really have enough time to talk to you guys about how messed up that entire situation is. Moving along to number 7, we have everyone's favorite talking cartoon dog, Brian Griffin from Family Guy. Fans were shocked, and I'm talking all caps shocked, when Brian was killed during the show's 12th season. But luckily, they didn't have to mourn for too long, since Stewie time traveled to bring him back just a couple of episodes later. Fans were so angry with Brian's passing after getting hit by a car that they successfully petitioned to bring him back. Though the death didn't stick, you still gotta give them some major credit for such a bold move like that. It must be hard to keep things fresh after 12 seasons. And hey, while we're on the subject of long-running shows, we've got the murder of JT from Degrassi coming in at number 6. Things were especially tense between the students of Degrassi and the students of Lakehurst, and it all came to a head when a Lakehurst student stabbed JT York. This death was especially hard because he had just gotten his life together after welcoming a child with Liberty and finally giving up drug dealing. In fact, he was on his way to tell Liberty that he still loved her when he got stabbed. This wasn't the first death that Degrassi had seen, but it was certainly the most tragic. Another TV death that sent fans into a tailspin, and I'm still mourning this as well, was Marissa Cooper from The OC, who comes in at number 5. At the end of the show's 3rd season, Marissa and Ryan were involved in a car chase with her psycho ex-boyfriend who ran their car off the side of the road. Though Ryan was able to survive the nasty crash, Marissa wasn't as lucky as she died in Ryan's arms. And side note here, the only thing more shocking than this big death scene was the fact that Misha Barton broke the news the day the episode aired, angering the show's fans.
Marissa.
Okay, we're gonna roll a lot of the death into one for our number 4 spot, and that would be the Stark family from Game of Thrones. Fans were completely floored when Ned Stark was beheaded at the end of season 1, but that was just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. We have 2 words for you. Red wedding. Yes, as if Ned's demise wasn't shocking enough, his wife Caitlin and son Rob were brutally murdered during the show's 3rd season. I mean, Bloodbath doesn't even begin to cover the massacre that occurred there. It's pretty brutal, so we're not really going to show you what happened, but we will show you how some people reacted to the whole thing. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Another death that was hard to swallow was when fans were forced to bid farewell to Herschel on The Walking Dead. And that is nabbing our number 3 spot. I mean, this show's very title, you guys, it's The Walking Dead. It implies that viewers will most likely have to deal with death from time to time. But Herschel's tragic murder was particularly hard on fans. The basic gist is that the governor kidnapped Herschel and Michonne, using them as hostages so Rick and company would leave the prison. However, Rick refused to go down without a fight, but sadly, the governor prevailed, killing Herschel by beheading him, and Herschel suffered not 1, but 2 deaths after Michonne put her sword through his head to make sure he stayed dead. Coming in at number 2, we have the tragic murder of James Novak from Scandal. Still crying about this. I mean, where do we even begin with this one? James was like this close to spilling the beans about Vice President Langston killing her own husband, but he was shot down by B613, aka Jake, before the info could ever see the light of day. And poor David Rosen had to watch the whole thing go down. While the entire situation was hard to believe, one of the most surprising things about the death was how Jake stayed with James while he was dying. Scandal is definitely a show that can keep you guessing.
We're almost there. Any minute now.
And hey, speaking of shows that keep you on your toes, do you like that? That is exactly where our number 1 most shocking death comes in. Can I get a drum roll, please? We have Mona from Pretty Little Liars. We have had to say goodbye to a whole lot of people from Rosewood, but this one was especially hard because of everything Mona had been through. Not to mention, she was on the verge of figuring out some major intel, but alas, that's why she died. She just knew too much. However, we are happy to hear that Janelle Parrish, aka Mona, will be returning to PLL in flashback form. You know, kind of like Allie did during those first few seasons, so maybe now that I think of it, maybe she's not really dead. Whatever. Now, as sad as we are to say goodbye to Mona, we just really want to know who did it. Was it really Allie or was it someone else? I mean, I don't know about you, but the suspense is killing me. Again, no pun intended. And with that, we have come to the end of our breakdown of the most shocking TV character deaths of all time. So far, that is. You never know when you might have to say goodbye to one of your TV faves, so make sure to tell them how you feel right now. No one is safe. We've got to pour some out for our homies right now. That was a hard one. What do you guys think? Which of these deaths surprised you most? Share your feelings in the comment section below. And you can click here to check out an awesome video with our friends from R5. We teamed up with the band to pull off an awesome prank on their super fans, all as a part of Prank It Forward. And you guys, don't forget to subscribe.